In the headlines, evacuation of trapped passengers from the Kaduna-bound train attacked by bandits concluded. PDP presidential aspirants meet Governor Otom. Suspended DCP Abba Kyari moved to Kuje prison. And ceasefire talks hopeful to yield results. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. Now, evacuation of passengers on the trapped Kaduna-bound train from Abuja has been concluded on Tuesday morning by security agencies, Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency and the Nigerian Red Cross. This is contained in a statement issued by the State Commissioner, Minister of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan. Passengers who sustained injuries and other fatalities have also been moved to hospitals. Reports say the passengers were evacuated from different hard-to-reach areas in the forests and rocky locations in Audu Jogom off the Kaduna-Abuja road. Fatima Salaladen gives us an update.
Yesterday night we called his number, but it was not going. Then he has two lines. Then we called the first one. The first one is not going, while the second one is going, but he's ringing. So he's a close aide, a friend to him that they entered the train together. So he was able to pick the phone. So we asked him about our brother. He said, okay, he don't know where he is, but he left his phone here. Since that time, we have never ever reached him again. So we have been calling the line since yesterday, but nothing has been responded to him. I hear since there is no any update from the government, because government have been spreading some information that we are not convinced of the information. So that is the reason why we come here, in order to know if there is any way out or any progress in regard to the incident. Because actually what the government is supposed to do is that let the government intervene. Even though we had that security personnel have intervened yesterday, so by this time around, the government should make a serious effort in order to know the casualties, the people that was being kidnapped, the people that are in the train or something of that nature. Let them come out with the list, comprehensive list, so that everybody should have a rest of mind. Because up to this moment, nothing we have had or nothing we hear from the government.
This is the waiting room of the Rigasa train station. On a normal day, it is usually filled up with passengers waiting to board the train. But today, it has become the shadow of itself due to bandits' attack on the train and rail line yesterday night. According to one of the passengers on board the train, she says the train was moving when they heard the sound of an explosive and then shooting started sporadically. She says most of the casualties were mostly women. Friends and family have been trooping in order to find their loved ones, all to no avail, whom they claimed they couldn't reach on phone. This morning, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs in Kaduna State just came in, and he said the state government have concluded the evacuation of the trapped victims.
Now, following that, activity at Idu train station in Abuja is at its lowest following recent attack on Kaduna-bound passengers. Some workers here say the rescue team is yet to return to Idu train station as they left this morning. Still ahead, former President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto and Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State on Monday visited the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom to consult with him over their presidential ambitions. The trio said they were in Makurdi as a team to hold private discussions with Otom in furtherance of their ambitions as well as in the interest of the country. Saraki, who addressed Otom on behalf of the team, said they decided to form a unity team mainly to enable them reach a consensus among themselves in the days ahead. He stressed that they took the initiative to work as a team without anybody forcing them to do so, adding that it became necessary because the country is divided by personal interest. Responding, Governor Otom eulogized the trio, describing all of them as eminently qualified to be the president of Nigeria.
I always tell to people that when we get to that bridge, I think it's for you to, the fact that nobody forced us to come around to start talking about unity and consensus. We on our own innovative took that. And I believe that that spirit will take us through those issues of what will divide us. The country is too divided. The suffering people are going through is beyond our personal ambition. That's the whole purpose of this. As we said when we met first time in Bauchi, we did not need to tell the public we were meeting. We could have met and nobody would have known what we had discussed. We are men of honor and integrity. For us to come out to the public and tell you this is our view, it shows that we are committed to it. And what are we committed about? We are committed about PDP winning. Any of the aspirant is elegantly competent to rule this country and lead this country. But whoever that person is also needs all of us because the challenges and things, that is what is priority. Not whether it's Aminu is the president or it's Balano or Udom or Wiki or Ayim or El or Waziri. No. It is what will make Nigeria grow better. And we believe it's PDP platform. And so forget it, that issue that anybody will walk and scatter. No. That's not what is before us.
This government of President Muhammadu Buhari have brought this country to its knees. But I'm not surprised because in 2014, he told Nigerians that he was going to bring Nigeria from top to bottom. But we didn't understand. And that is where we are. My worry is that we're not just going to the bottom, we're going beneath the earth. So that is why PDP is willing to rescue Nigeria and then rebuild it. Truly, look at, just here, the three gentlemen that are standing here. Yesterday, we had another gentleman from Rivers State Governor Wike who declared here in Benue State that he was going to seek for presidency. Look at these young men and compare the ancestors from APC that are seeking to be country. The young shall grow now. Let's allow this youth to grow. Truly, like I quote from my brother, the governor of Oyo State, who said that anybody who is after 70 years and is looking for presidency is an evil person who wants to ruin this country. Any person beyond 70 years should not be looking for presidency. These are people, today we're in the computer age. These three gentlemen you see here, they are computer literate. And they have the capacity. They are in the digital world. We cannot continue to be in the analog.
Very interesting soundbite there. Now, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says Nigeria's government recorded modest achievements in the last 7 years, insisting that, contrary to opponents' claim, APC government made marks in the areas of infrastructure, agriculture and economic development. The minister, who gave the verdict, also accused previous administration of laying the groundwork for today's hardship as he challenged the main opposition party in the country to present its 16-year scorecard to Nigerians. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
7 years down the lane, the Buhari government says it has been consistent and steadfast in transforming the country through massive investments in infrastructure, agriculture, social interventions, among several others.
We are proud that in our time, the second Niger bridge, which they had built on paper several times, is almost ready for delivery. In addition to the second Niger bridge, we have built or repaired the following, among others: Ecom Bridge in Cross River, Local Oweto Bridge in Nasarawa, Ibi Bridge in Taraba, and Bamenda Info Bridge linking Nigeria and the Cameroons.
Apparently responding to the current statistics in comparison with what was obtainable before this administration in 2015, such as unemployment, inflation, cost of energy and poverty levels, Lai Mohammed says those brandishing the figure are not mindful of the fact that Nigeria operates within the global economic dynamics.
They said they are ready to rescue Nigeria. Pray where the kidnappers rescue their victims. These same guys who kidnap the fortunes of their country are suddenly posing as rescuers We are not unmindful of the challenges facing this administration, either in the area of economy, security, or power. But we have risen stoutly to the challenges, judiciously utilizing the very scarce resources that we have, and we are making an impact.
As the nation grapples with rising unemployment, inflation, and poverty indices, the Nigerian government says it is working hard to address governance deficit it inherited, utilizing limited resources at its disposal to build an enduring economy. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
There you go. Now, former Senate President Bukola Saraki says security situation worsened in the country on the APC watch, advising the government to stop blaming others but work towards what people elected to do. Saraki speaks on Trust TV interactive program 30 Minutes.
We have voted for government, we must take responsibility. Yes. Let's not have a debate for the sake of a debate. Let's look at how it affects the lives of people. People who are living in Jibia, for example, in Katsina, could go freely. I drove all the way from Katsina onto Zamfara. You can do that. You can't do that now. You can agree that the country, as a country, when it was defined, even by a lot of analysts, said the country, there are 4 types of countries. There are strong countries, there are weak countries, the countries where you call the failing, and the countries that are called failed states. You can argue that Nigeria might have been a weak state, but today you cannot. It has moved from a weak state to a failing state. That's not debatable. And I think to be unfair on Nigerians who are going through much pain, for us to be arguing those fine details. The reality is, when you put yourself to vote, people to vote for you, you make promises. You say, when I become president, or when my government party forms government, we will make your life better. And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen. Is the life better? Is the life better secure-wise? Are there more people who are unemployed who have not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
Still in politics, race to succeed Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai in 2023 elections is gaining momentum as more aspirants show interest to run for the governorship seat in the ruling party APC and the leading opposition PDP. Fatima Salaladan has the details of the story.
The wind of politics in the country is blowing. Kaduna State is not left out. Intense competition among aspirants showing interest for the governorship of the state is manifesting.
Power belongs to you. You can put a stamp of approval on my bid and without delay prepare for the task of checkmating our political opponents.
It is a great honor and privilege for me to be here today to address the APC executive, who collectively represent a critical team of managers of political engagement and participation.
And for the leading opposition People's Democratic Party, it is time to transform the state to its past glory.
Our infrastructure are in shambles, especially in the rural areas. There are some roads that are rehabilitated and constructed in Kaduna, but those of us that are from rural areas, we do not know of the existence of government.
So far, 4 candidates have openly declared interest for the governorship seats. Others have not come out to declare, but are reaching out to supporters on the ground. Who will eventually succeed the present governor? Only time shall tell. Fatima Salaladan, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And now from the court, suspended DCP Abba Kyari will remain in detention pending his illicit drug trial as Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Emeka Nwite, refused his bail application. The court held that the NDLEA has placed sufficient evidence before the court, enough for it to refuse the bail application. The report.
Abba Kyari is facing charges bordering on deals in illicit drugs. He's already facing extradition to the United States on charges of wired fraud. The second defendant, who is an assistant superintendent of police, is under investigation for money laundering and may face charges on some offences.
We have moved the bail applications in regards to the top defendants, and the court has adjourned for the 27th of April for the ruling. And because the last sitting, we were served a counter affidavit, which of course we responded to. And based on that, we moved our motion today. And the court adjourned for 27. We are hoping that the judge will benevolent their requested grant us one out of the 7 kola nuts before the court.
Recall that the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, and the second defendant opted for bail application because of medical conditions. But according to NDLEA, the medical condition of suspended Abba Kyari, it's not beyond its capacity. And on this premises, among other strong cases that was made by the NDLEA against suspended DCP Abba Kyari, his bail application was not granted by the court. And one thing worthy of note is that, yes, we have the NDLEA personnel waiting for the suspended DCP Abba Kyari and other applicants to get out of court, but it seems that they will be handed over to the Nigerian Correctional Service because his prayer to remain under the custody of the NDLEA was not granted by the court. And one thing also worthy of note is the fact that on the 28th of April has been set aside to review the cases of the 6th and 7th defendants who pleaded guilty to the charges.
After the sitting, waited almost 5 hours for the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police to be handed over to the Nigerian Correctional Service, which eventually happened. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up. Protest over market relocation. Details of this story and more after the break. Do stay. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. Here are our top stories. Evacuation of passengers on the trapped Kaduna-bound train from Abuja has been concluded on Tuesday morning by security agencies, Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency and Nigerian Red Cross. Former President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto and Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State on Monday visited the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom to consult with him over their presidential ambitions. Still ahead, Nigerian InterReligious Council has held its first quarterly meeting for the year 2022. The meeting, with the theme Education for Peace and Nation Building, focuses on the challenges being faced in the education sector, insecurity, fake news, among others. Trust TV's Sagir Ibrahim was there and files him this report.
As the Nigeria InterReligious Council holds its first quarterly meeting, key among issues discussed were insecurity, propagation of fake news, the education sector with focus on the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. During his address, the co-chairman of the council and president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, expressed disappointment over the decision of the leadership of ASU to continue with the strike despite intervention of the council.
For me, I'm not pleased enough with ASU because they were impatient. I and the co-chairman and others that you sent went to meet with them. Instead of them to be patient with us, to know how to get the government to commit itself, they went and declared the strike again while our intervention was going on. To me, that was not respectful enough.
He also faulted the federal government for its failure to handle the situation effectively.
It was at that time when they were saying there is no money to answer ASU that the government went and donated $1 million to Afghanistan. How reasonable is that? When you have your own Afghanistan here at home, you have not taken care of, you are donating to another one. How will believe you that you don't have money? We need to take a drastic decision about this impasse between ASU and the federal government.
The secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, during his address called on NIREC to continue to intervene so as to enable Nigerian students return to school as quickly as possible.
I want to charge the leadership of NIREC to continue in this path to appeal to us to call off the strike in the interest of a safe and prosperous nation. The education of our children is very vital, and the need to continually keep them in school is key to molding them into a great leaders of tomorrow.
On the issue of security, Reverend Ayokunle lamented that the situation will only worsen except more decisive steps are taken to address it head-on.
We as leaders cannot just sit down and think that all is well. All is not well. I don't want us to come here one day as a result of insecurity and they tell us to stand for 1 minute for any of us. If the airports are not safe, sir, none of us is safe. And if they have tried it in Kaduna, they can try it at any other place.
The Sultan of Sokoto and co-chair of the council, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, during his own address, called on the public and the media to play their role towards the prevention of the propagation of fake news and misinformation in the society.
So let's always look at what we can do, what we say, and how we say things. And anything said, let me repeat, at this plenary should be quoted as Professor Oladusu said this, not Narek said this. Sultan of Sokoto said this. Yes, there'll be front page headlines if I say anything wrong. But there's no problem. But do not attribute it to NIREC. NIREC is a body of 60 honest Nigerians that decided to come together to chart a way forward for peaceful coexistence in our great country.
The theme for the 2022 first quarterly meeting of NIREC is Education for Peace and Nation Building. Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
Elsewhere, members of Aramoleti Osho Market Association Akpagbon are calling on the federal government to rescind their 7-day ultimatum and allow them to occupy the underbridge environment. The traders, in their numbers with various inscriptions on their placard, said they have no place to go after the 7 days' notice. The traders said the markets affected by the directive include the Aramoleti Osho Market, Shoe and Bag Market, Irewolede Market, ECOWAS Market, and Asejere Market. This comes a few days after the popular Akpagbon market was gutted by fire. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu told them to leave the premises as all the occupants of underbridges in Lagos State will be forced out of the bridges and possibly relocated to a befitting environment for their trade.
Obalinde, similarly. And so I want to use you men, gentlemen of the press, to let's pass on this information. Government is not about making life any more difficult for its citizens. That's not the plan. But it's for the citizens to know that their commerce and their activity needs to be done in proper markets, in places that have been designated as proper markets. I will work with the special advisor CBD and the local government chairman. I will see how we bring forward representative of the traders, and we can both identify where we can reallocate or relocate them to very, very, very quickly. And these are some of the things that we're going to do to ensure that they do not miss their source of livelihood. But to go back to how it's been done is to mean that we're being reckless, because we cannot be assured of the safety, of this bridge, if we have to take them back there. And so we'll go to Obalide as well, and we're also going to repeat the same thing. It's about time in which we need to get people off under the bridges. Because once it happens, once things like this happen, it affects everyone. It affects the entire economy of Lagos, and that is certainly not acceptable.
And on the foreign scene, delegations from Russia and Ukraine arrive in Istanbul for the first face-to-face talks in more than 2 weeks. Ukraine says its top priority from the talks, which will begin early on Tuesday, is to negotiate a ceasefire, but hopes for progress are slim, with both sides playing down the chances of a breakthrough. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pleads for the world powers to toughen sanctions on Russia, including an oil embargo. And that's it on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thanks for your time and company.